So these presentations are going to cover using Tableau Desktop, in particular creating dashboards where you bring lots of different visualizations together. Typically you'll have your worksheets that you've already created, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring those worksheets together onto a single pane or panel, a dashboard. So the example that we're going to work our way through today will involve creating 3 visualizations, and then we'll place them onto a dashboard and you can see how you can link them together. Now the data that we're going to use here is the data that we've used before, which is on students inside the business school, and so it's all to do with the characteristics of those students, what degree they're on, how they travel, their average travel time, things like that. So we're going to create these 3 visualizations here, a bar chart, a pie chart, and then a little table down the bottom which is going to link, which is going to show you the data from the pie chart. Now the process for creating a dashboard basically involves following these steps. You'll have a collection of worksheets that you've already created, and then you'll create your dashboard and you'll add particular layout elements onto the dashboard, titles, paragraphs, text, whatever it is that you want, and you'll add the worksheets that you have. Obviously in our example we're going to have 3, but some complex dashboards can have very many items. In the example that we're going to look at today, we're going to connect the individual elements, those individual worksheets together, and the way that we do that is by using the filter function, and then you can customize them as you see fit. So we're going to use the student response Excel spreadsheet, which we'll import into Tableau Desktop. And the first chart that we're actually going to create is quite straightforward, hopefully. It's a bar chart. So it's a bar chart of the business students by degree. And you can see we've got accounting and finance students, business with accounting students, and all the other students just fit into the category of other. And that goes along the x-axis, the different category of degree that the students are taking. And then we have the average journey time for each of those students, and this is the time that they suggested that it takes them to travel to the university on the y-axis. So we'll create that bar chart in a moment. These are the steps that we'll follow. We'll basically create a bar chart, and there's a few customizations that we'll follow along here to do with which items we'll select, which measure we'll use, and then we will adjust some of those, the size, add some names in, edit the title and things like that. And then once we've done that, we'll size the elements, and hopefully we'll end up with something that looks like this. So I'm now going to jump into Tableau. I'm going to show you the steps required to generate this bar chart. So this is the Tableau desktop interface. I've just fired it up, and the first thing of course it does is it takes you into the connect screen and asks you to try and connect to a data source. So in this instance we're going to connect to a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. So I'm simply going to tap on that, and the file that we're using for this example is student responses. So I'm just going to open that up. Just give it a second. Here we go. The student responses file, you can see that it's in here as form responses 1. And in this example, we don't need to add any connections between different data sheets. It's just a flat file with all of the different columns running across the bottom. So we're going to create our first worksheet. So I'm just going to go to here, sheet 1. And the example here is we're going to create a bar chart. So let's just go through the steps. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's create a bar chart from the marked shelf. And if you remember, the bar chart's going to show us journey time, and it's going to show us the degree that the students are on. So we're going to have the degree, which you can see here is under dimensions. That's going to be our column. So I'm just going to drag that from the dimension shelf onto the columns input field. There it is. And we want journey minutes. And so I'm just going to drag journey minutes from there onto the rows input. There we go, there's our basic bar chart. Now, this isn't quite right, because if you look up here, you can see what it's actually doing is it's adding up all the journey minutes. And what we really want is we want the average journey time for each of the students on these 4 degrees. So the way that we change that, I'm just going to tap on the little down arrow here, and then I can go into measure and I can say show me the average journey time. So if I tap on that, there we are, we get the average journey time for the 4 degrees. Now let's customize the actual way that this is being shown. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size. So I'm going to fill up the whole panel here. Remember, we're going to be using this data chart inside a dashboard, so really we want it to fill up the entire panel. It may not look that good here, but remember, we'll be seeing it in the context of the other 3 charts when we put it on the dashboard. So I'm just going to say up here, fill the entire view. So that's that drop down box up there. And then you can actually configure the size here. And what the size does with the bar chart is it'll actually change the width of the actual bars themselves. So I'm just going to, I think that looks fine. Now, one of the things that we have here is that's degree, and that's obviously the different types of degree. And you can see degree has a lowercase d. So one of the things that we could do is we can actually rename the dimensions, any of the dimensions or measures as we wish. So up here you can see I've got a rename option. I've done a right mouse click and rename, and I can say let's give that a capital letter, degree. There it is. That looks a bit nicer. Now for the indicator on the y-axis, that isn't a single measure being displayed here, it's actually a calculation over a measure. So if I want to change the name of that, I can double tap. That takes us into this interface here, or you can right mouse click and edit it. And if you look down here, you can see axis titles, average journey minutes. So what would be quite nice if we just say something a bit more like this, average journey time, or journey minutes, or whatever you like. There we go. Let that go away. So now you can see I've got a nice name up here and a nice name down here. Now the final step here that I want to do is I actually want to change the name of the worksheet. So I'm just going to right mouse click, rename, and let's call this travel time. Travel time, like that. And when I press enter, what you'll notice is that the actual sheet name has changed up here to travel time automatically. Now, that's fine, but of course this is the name of the tab down here. What we really want is we want something a little bit more explanation in here. So I'm just going to double tap on that, and then we can go into this familiar interface where we can edit the title. So let's just say, let's just delete all that. Travel time for Kingston Business School students, for example, or you can say whatever you like. So let's click OK, and there we are. That's the first bar chart done. So I'll just save that, and then we can move on to the next one.